Hello and welcome to the 83rd episode of Rambling Weekly. I'm going to talk about algorithms. That's it. We're going to talk about algorithms. So, no silly obfuscation. So, yeah, I'm going to take a break and then get into what we normally do. So stick around. Welcome back. That tune there is Supporting Dancer from the fourth Fire Emblem game, Genealogy of a Holy War. Yeah, and it's the second one on the Super Famicom. It's a good one. It's really enjoyable. That tune there is also really nice. It's just this little, I don't know, there's something kind of, it plays during a, like, because you get like dancer characters and stuff that'll refresh a character so they can act again on a turn. So yeah, it's a really neat. It's got a nice. I don't know. I like it a lot. It's good too. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I am an idiot, and I was supposed to have one not yesterday, but last week. It was going to be this topic too, but I didn't realize I hit the gain on the mic, so it was coming across like really like that with more static, a lot more static. So yeah, yeah. So sorry about that. Should have had one last week. That's okay. We're back on track. And I should have known something was up because I was talking with Matt, who was on a previous episode, the one AI one. I was talking with him the day before, and he was like, "Yeah, you're coming across really awful." And so I changed it to the mic that's built into the. I think there's like one built into this camera or something, but I changed it to that one, and it worked, but I wasn't certain why it was so awful. And then he was like, it's fine, figure it out. And I didn't figure it out until, oh, day later. Or not even a day later, like a couple days later. Like, because I'm recording this the day I'm putting it out, kind of thing. And yeah, didn't figure it out until like the day after, and I was like, I'll just hold off. So yeah, hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing good. Been pretty busy with just work stuff and all around just different sorts of headaches and whatnot. So I'm just kind of like, figure out stuff when it comes around, in that kind of mode. I have been I've mentioned this to Slade and B. Clark, but yeah, I'm putting together a video. Don't know how long it's gonna take, but it's slowly coming around. There's still a lot of stuff I need to do for it and whatnot, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for it and all that fun jazz. So it'd be nice to really dissect and get into it and whatnot. So, but yeah, so that's trying to get around to. I'll show it. I gotta grab it real quick. But yeah. So, as has been mentioned, recently I self-published the next book, so that's been exciting. You know, here's Sudraba, the first one. Ain't that nice? Ain't that pretty? Oh, look, it's looking nice. Ooh. Well, kind of goofed, and using matte material, the MATTE apostrophe E. It doesn't come quite as through. It's a little dark. So I had to reorder some and change it to a glossy material. And yeah, I kind of like it, but in the sense of sales and stuff, like in a presentation sense, it might not quite work. I mean, you can see the title and the subtitle. My name, not so much. On the front, it is almost like a long lost tome, so it's kind of cool, but it's like no, that doesn't quite work. So, but yeah, so, I was a little. I have offered for those who have bought it already before I had made the change. Because for some reason my copies, the author copies, they take a lot longer than if you just order the book. So, but it is what it is, and to anybody who has bought a physical one, and they're like, I don't know about this, Taylor. What are you doing? Like, get a hold of me, and like. I changed the material from that matte to glossy because I'm as they would say functionally stupid, and I don't really know things. And I guess glossy helps when it's a darker cover for the colors to pop a little bit more. So if that doesn't work, I'm gonna have David, who did the cover and stuff that you can not really see very well, but that he would pump up the saturation so that it'll come through a little bit more. To me, it is cool. Like I know what the image looks like and everything. It's just got this really neat. Like, yeah, looking at it, you only see the comet, and that's kind of cool. But it's not gonna work. So, if anything, they're collector's editions. Well, woo. I mean, it comes through very well. Comparably so when you're just kind of looking at it. Sorry. Drip coffee on it. But yeah, so if you're interested, buy a book, please. If you have already, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, so it is kind of neat to see that. Plus, you know, look at that. They're a little bit different material and stuff, but woo, it's exciting. And plus, you know, me wanting to have like the same size and stuff like that, it kind of makes that it's appreciated instead of like, oh, one's like the dollar and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. Have I been playing anything? I have. Previous aforementioned conversation with Matt, I have made it my duty, even though I've really fallen off track with it, to finally beat Divinity Original Sin 2. I think that's how the title is. Yes. Like, I have tried playing it multiple times over years, and I'll get to Act 2, and then I just stop. The first time was because I was getting dunked on by everything I turned around. I'm like, no. And then the few times after it, I'd get a little bit further, and then I'd get sidetracked by something. And I was like, I'll get back to it. I like it. I don't really have an interest in playing Baldur's Gate 3, though I do like just like the style of it, if that makes sense. I just don't really have I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, like, this is fine. Like, I don't need more of its adjacent sort of thing. I'm obviously struggling as it is to beat the one game. I don't need to try to be like, yes, I will buy this other one. Plus, I don't have space on my computer. My computer uh, does not have 150 gigs to work with, which either means I need to get an external or something or what. I don't know. But yeah, that's been going on. I don't think there's really been much else. Um, been reading a book. I'll probably come up for a topic here. I might actually use a quote from it for this episode, but I think I've mentioned it before. But I finally gotten circled back to reading it. It's Amusing Ourselves to Death, so by Neil Postman. And it's about the changing of our ability to do political discourse, and just how that and everything dealing with us when our entertainment has so vastly changed from the 1800s and into like nowadays and stuff. So it's a it's a fascinating read. I like it. And I do recommend it. I'm about 70 pages into it, and I think it's like 160. It's not a very long book, nor is it dense to where it's like, oh, I've got to reread the stuff 4 or 5 times to really parse out everything that's going on if you're not like familiar with certain things. So that's all I got. So yeah, so I hope, I don't know why I did that, but anyway, so I hope all is well. We're going to take a break and then get into the topic, so stick around. Welcome back. That is conversation 2. um, yeah, not some very. There's some cool titles for some of the songs in the Genealogy of a Holy Wars soundtrack, but there's a lot of them that are just kind of like Conversation 2, Lover 3, that sort of thing. This one's Conversation 2, and I think I forgot to mention it, but it's Tsujiyoko Yuka, or Tsujiyoko Yuka, yeah, Yuka, that did the compositional works for this. She's a good one. It's a lot. I think if you do some digging on, is there's a lot of women involved with, pardon me, especially with like the earlier Fire Emblem games, and I don't know about much so now. Like I've really have fallen off the wagon of interest when it comes to that series. Awakening was one of those points. They kind of got me a little bit back in with the remake of Gaiden, which was Echoes. That was a pretty awesome remake, even if they tacked on some things I didn't really care for. But it's like a minor gripe kind of thing. Like, okay, I mean, I get why they did it, but whatever. Um, but yeah, no, it's yeah, yeah. I tried three houses. I never could get through three houses. Part of that was just, I don't know. I'm not a big Persona guy, and it's got a strong vibe of that with the military academy, and and I get that yeah, it spills over into the back half of the game and stuff, but I don't know. I really was like, ugh. Yeah, and then the newest one, Engage. I've heard that it's fun, like, to play, but it's just kind of pants on head. How about yeah, pants on head. I had it right. Pants on head, silly with just some of it, and I've seen screenshots for some of it, and it is a long long distance away from what was kind of going on with it initially. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at with that. But yeah, that's conversation too. But yeah, the topic on hand is the title, algorithmically chained, um, and just kind of talking about the algorithm. We do kind of talk about this. It's something that comes up every now and again, right? And just how bad that's it is really really doing a disservice to us all to have all these different algorithms and whatnot. For one, in having if like I maybe once it varies, but sometimes it's once a month, sometimes it's once every 3 months, 4 months or so, maybe a little bit longer. Like I'll go through, for example, with YouTube, I'll clear out my history, clear out the history, watch history, and everything like that, just to see if it'll cycle in some new things. But the thing is that like when you watch one thing, it's like it wants to inundate you with a whole slew of oh, you watch this one thing, and it registers when you just kind of if you have your mouse over, because I use a computer, I don't really use a smartphone for watching YouTube and stuff, but it'll have it'll start to play it, and then that'll register it in your history as well, even if you had no interest in doing that whatsoever. It's just where your mouse stopped, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, but yeah, it gives that wonderful feedback loop of, oh, this is what they want. They want this, and so they must have this. It's like somebody who wants to like overly like wants to feel like they're doing well to you by overly pleasing you. And because it's an algorithm, it's not like, it's not like there's some sort of person that you can be like, yeah, stop doing that. It just keeps on wanting to do that. And so we fall into these I want to say the echo chamber, just I wouldn't even say like an echo chamber, but you'd fall into these sort of very, very small surface level, but like deep well. It's just a tiny, deep well where you're just kind of stuck in it. And you can't do a lot of exploration except for down, 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 down. Get the iceberg meme going again. Go that route. But it is yeah, and you see this with like I still will click on the Twitters. Not like I really do much, nor am I some sort of interesting person on there. But just throwing out memes every now and again, and links to this is a cool music video or a cool song. That's really about the extent of it for me on there. I I'll click on the recommended, and it has like nothing to do with like I'm just like no. Yeah, same thing with like Instagram or something. It's like these are your suggested whatever they're called profiles to say hey to. You know, like 90% of the time it's just they're locked to begin with because they don't want weirdos just randomly saying hi on the internet to them, ogling their pictures like some sort of weirdo. But so you can't even like do anything with it. But yeah, it we get stuck in these weird loops. You know, we have the like for example, I really have not heard much of anything since that FF7 Rebirth has been released. You know, there was the talking about it, all the hoopla for it and whatnot coming out, and then all of a sudden I don't hear a thing about it at all. Now, there's other people who they're hearing constantly about it, and it's just like yeah. That is the wonderful thing of the algorithm, right? They just sort of, I don't have an interest in hearing about it, so I don't ever hear anything. So I'm kind of like, is there really anything going about it? Do people care? Do they not? I mean, I seen the sales weren't so good, but the first one came out when COVID was hitting hard, so people were staying home and playing more games and just getting all into. It's similar to my feelings and just consternation towards toward how people will have like in a way to try to keep the ball rolling, keep the momentum going, and all that sort of thing. They'll be like, oh, not that this is happening anytime soon. New Star Ocean games coming out. How convenient! I've got a Star Ocean review coming out, or I've got I'm playing songs from Star Ocean, or that sort of thing. They're playing that game because their livelihood more than likely probably depends on it. That, or they feel like it's the only way that they're going to be able to get anywhere on something like this, and so they feel the need to do so. So it's it's I don't like it. I'm not too keen on it. I don't. I think that in itself leads to a lot of burnout, and you're just you're trying to satiate I wouldn't say satiate. You're trying to scratch an itch that isn't quite there, but it feels like it's there. A phantom itch, if that makes sense. It's for example, when Fall Guys was coming out, you saw the people looking for the next new thing so that they can jump on it and be that guy, that lady, that person who's they've hitched their wagon to this. So I'm a Fall Guys player. I'm an Among Us player, kind of thing. And then ride that wave for as long as as you can. It's similar, right? So you're shackling yourself to the complete whims and motions of the internet, which is quite the stormy waters to really set sail to. But yeah, so it is. I think that in itself creates so much just discontentedness. I don't know if that's quite the word. um, we're going with it though. Discontentedness. Malaise, just unhappiness, disgruntled, just because you're it's similar to like if you're wanting to be popular but you're not inherently popular. Some people, they just have that glow to them, either because they're attractive or they're really funny or whatever. Instead they're constantly, it's that constantly searching for the outside to validate the inside kind of thing. And I think that's no bueno. That's no good. You are locking yourself in to not only just whims of others, but whims of others you have absolutely no concept of, right? Just people you may have spoken to for 5 minutes, or just kind of click clack chit chat, and that's it. Yeah, and even just losing yourself into trying to be popular in groups in a physical sense has its toll. And yeah, I don't think it's a good thing, which probably a lot of people agree with, but we still do it anyways because we like to we like the feeling of being validated by others, because then it feels like, oh yes, we they know that we know about what everybody else should know, and we try to give ourselves a little bit of an ego boost, right? Kind of thing. No, but you just gotta be good with it, right? And just carve your own path. I mean, some people do, and they seem to be fine with it, and some people don't. They either are fine with it and will just be like, poof, we're gonna just let it go, or I think of one big, I don't know how big, but he seems like he's a big streamer, who has kind of carved his own path on those things and has been really sensible about how he wants to do things, and that's Tomato Gaming. Seems to be, yeah, a younger guy that just kind of like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to be trying to do this and this. I'm going to do what I like to do, and if you're going to be on the ride, cool. If not, well, okay. Have fun. So, but yeah, that's if I was to, it is really just another layer, right? It is just another layer of this push and pull and struggle between being oneself and being in a collective, in a social collective kind of thing, in a not just you got yourself, how you are with your friends, how that we're depending on how malleable you are, or how stringent you are, you might be just very. I'm kind of one of those people. I'm one of those people where it's just like I'm not really gonna be different for this kind of thing, but it's another layer, and not only is it another layer, it's inherently an unnecessary layer, It's an extra weight we're just throwing on ourselves. We, instead of pushing up one boulder like, oh, what the heck is his name? I can't think of his name now. Not Tartarus. Yeah, what is his name? Sisyphus. Like Sisyphus pushing up the boulder, we decided we want to push up two at the same time. That's kind of what it feels like, because with that push and pull of the self, it's really easy if you kind of isolate yourself. You don't have to worry about that sort of thing. It becomes a little bit more difficult, especially when you're in growing up and into school and those kind of social settings and whatnot. And then you're introduced to this where everybody's on the playing field, and some of them are bigger bullies, and they have much more at their disposal because of just how limitless it seems the internet is. But yeah, we I think that's the if you are wanting to try to be a people pleaser, or wanting to, like, if you don't kind of carve your path, I feel like that's you're just gonna be yanked around this way and that by everything else. And if you some people are fine with that, right? Some people are fine with, it's like going to eat something. They're like, whatever, I'll just go along with the crowd. And then I don't know if more people feel like they just want to be themselves or what, but I feel like if you don't want to be so much part of the crowd, that kind of goes against, it's kind of cross purposes, right? Because there just are so many bigger pools to draw from to see, there are people like you after all. And sometimes a lot of times it's a comforting thing. Sometimes it's a disappointment, because you're like, I thought I was unique. The other, and this isn't like it's some sort of new revelation and whatnot, but the other thing with the algorithms that suck is that how if you don't play that game, you do become very quickly just buried under the absolute flood, the gluttony of just everything else, right? So if you're not really sticking out, then you are being hammered it down real quickly. So yeah, I mean that's the game you're playing. So either you can play the game or make your own game and just play with the cards that are available. So but that's all I got for this. Yeah, just wanted to chit chat about the algorithm a little bit, because it is always there. Going to take a break and come back. Stick around. Welcome back. That was recruitment. It is not probably as probably hit as high of a note as Together We Ride, but I like it. I mean, if I'm being serious, this soundtrack is good. I don't think it's Tsujiyoko's best work. That's for things like Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance, but it's still pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, this is the book I was talking about. Amusing Ourselves to Death. It's a penguin book. See, look, penguin. Anyways, I'm gonna read a quote from it. It's a little bit longer, but I think it's one of the many important things. I've been making little notes for pages and stuff. So, yeah, I'm one of those that doesn't like the Barkin books, but I'll still make notes for it. Anyway. Dun 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 dun. Alright. So. I'm probably going to mispronounce things. I apologize in advance. This is on page 68, and we're going to go push into page 69. Kind of bouncing a little bit. So, in both oral and typographic cultures, information derives its importance from the possibilities of action. Of course, in any communication environment, input, what one is informed about, always exceeds output, the possibilities of action based on information. But the situation created by telegraphy, that's the one, telegraphy, and then exacerbated by later technologies, made the relationship between information and action both abstract and remote. For the first time in human history, people were faced with the problem of information glut, which means that simultaneously they were faced with the problem of a diminished social and political potency. You may get a sense of what this means by asking yourself another series of questions. What steps do you plan to take to reduce the conflict in the Middle East? This was written in 1985, by the way. Or the rates of inflation, crime, and unemployment. 1985. Or at least released by then. What are your plans for preserving the environment or reducing the risk of nuclear war? What do you plan to do about NATO, OPEC, the CIA, affirmative action, and the monstrous treatment of the Baha'is in Iran? I shall take the liberty of answering for you. You plan to do nothing about them. You may, of course, cast a ballot for someone who claims to have some plans, as well as the power to act. But this you can only do once every 2 or 4 years by giving 1 hour of your time, hardly a satisfying means of expressing the broad range of opinions you hold. Voting, we might say, is the next to last refuge of the politically impotent. The last refuge is, of course, giving your opinion to a pollster, who will get a version of it through a desiccated question, and then will submerge it in a Niagara of similar opinions and convert them into, what else? Another piece of news. Thus we have here a great loop of impotence. The news elicits from you a variety of opinions about which you can do nothing except to offer them as more news, about which you can do nothing. Prior to the age of telegraphy, the information-action ratio was sufficiently close so that most people had a sense of being able to control some of the contingencies in their lives. What people knew about had action value. In the information world created by telegraphy, this sense of potency was lost, precisely because the whole world became the context for news. Everything became everyone's business. For the first time, we were sent information which answered no questions we had asked, and which, in any case, did not permit the right of reply. We may say, then, that the contribution of the telegraph to public discourse was to dignify irrelevance and amplify impotence. But this was not all. Telegraphy also made public discourse essentially incoherent. It brought into being a world of broken time and broken attention. To use Lewis Mumford's phrase, The principal strength of the telegraph was its capacity to move information, not collect it, explain it, or analyze it. In this respect, telegraphy was the exact opposite of typography. Typography? Like I said, mispronounced words. Books, for example, are an excellent container for the accumulation, quiet scrutiny, and organized analysis of information and ideas. It takes time to write a book and to read one, time to discuss its contents and to make judgments about their merit, including the form of their presentation. A book is an attempt to make through permanent and to contribute to the great conversation conducted by authors of the past. Therefore, civilized people everywhere consider the burning of a book a vile form of anti-intellectualism, but the telegraph demands that we burn its contents. The value of telegraphy is undermined by applying the tests of permanence, continuity, or coherence. The telegraph is suited only to the flashing of messages, each to be quickly replaced by a more up-to-date message. Facts push other facts into and that out of consciousness at speeds that neither permit nor require evaluation. So, kind of bled into page 70 there. But, yeah, I mean, it is, yeah. Actually, I'm going to continue. I'm going to do one more paragraph. I think this is important, too. Now looking at it. The telegraph introduced a kind of public conversation whose form had startling characteristics. Its language was the language of headlines, sensational, fragmented, impersonal. News took the form of slogans, to be noted with excitement, to be forgotten with dispatch. Its language was also entirely discontinuous. One message had no connection to that which preceded or followed it. Each headline stood alone as its own context. The receiver of the news had to provide a meaning if he could. The sender was under no obligation to do so, and because of all this, the world as depicted by the telegraph began to appear unmanageable, even undecipherable. The line-by-line, sequential, continuous form of the printed page slowly began to lose its resonance as a metaphor of how knowledge was to be acquired and how the world was to be understood. Knowing the facts took on a new meaning, for it did not imply that one understood implications, background, or connections. Telegraphic discourse permitted no time for historical perspectives and gave no priority to the qualitative. To the telegraph, intelligence meant knowing of lots of things, not knowing about them. Dun, dun, dun. But, yeah. So, I highly recommend this book. I think it is important. An important read in our day and age. And, yeah. But that's also maybe because it is reflecting feelings that I had on stuff like this for a long time. And, so, maybe I'm just a part of a natural algorithm. Bouncing back to myself. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. Thank you for watching, listening, all that fun jazz. Hope you have a good week, weekend, weekday, weeknight, everything in between. Yeah. Outro theme is Fateful Showdown. It's a good one. I like it. And it's nice that you know, I think I haven't played them in a while, but I think some of the later Fire Emblem games have a bad habit of, you've got the boss and there's this little quick interaction. Well, it doesn't stay on the screen, and so you don't get to really hear as much of the cool tunes and the cool music and stuff. That's why you should have just, gotta have that, be able to have the dialogue box and then stuff. Anyways, it's a good battle theme. It's great. Fateful Showdown. That's it. Take it easy. Catch you next week. Bye.